Rightio, thank you, Dave. G'day everyone walking past. G'day, we have Rob, Sinnamon and Prue Bondfield from Palgrove joining us today, discussing a topic of building a brand and their journey through ag and where they've got to today with their businesses. Rob, I'll just run through a quick background with you. You've had a long career in ag. Early on started around the Brisbane Valley. You've judged cattle at many shows around the country for years. You were the young rural Queenslander of '87 and the New South Wales Farmer of the Year in 2007. Prue, with Palgrove, you and David started your journey in the stud game in '92, is that correct? 87, okay. And with 50 cows, I can see so far was the start of the journey. And have obviously grown the business to what it is today. So congratulations on those efforts. And also recognised last night at the Rabobank Beef Industry Awards for the winner of the R.W. Vincent Award. So congratulations on that. That must have been a special moment for you, a hell of an achievement. So congratulations. Rob, I might hand over to you. Sorry, just to give a quick introduction of where you're from and what you're doing today.
Yeah, thanks, mate. It's great to be here this afternoon, and Beef Australia hold a special place in my career since Beef '88. So we've been involved with everyone since then. I'm currently the general manager for Yugobar Pastoral Company. We're located in about 100 kilometres northwest of Grafton in northern New South Wales, on the Clarence River. Yugobar's been settled since 1840, so we've been the Yugobar Pastoral Company's been in business for a while now, and we're a Santa Gertrudis seed stock operation, with some of the first Santa Gertrudis coming to Yugobar back in 1952, along with King Ranch. So it's a long association with both Santa Gertrudis and the industry. The station's owned by Bayou and Sarah Meyer and family, Melbourne-based family, and we run on average about 5,500 head of predominantly Santa Gertrudis cattle.
And with that too, Rob, sorry, just wanted to touch on how long you've been in that stud game. Has that always been a passion of yours?
Yeah, look, I guess I've been fortunate to be involved in the seed stock industry my lifetime. Back as early as in 1970, the Sinnamon family were involved with Santa Gertrudis. Robin Lee Santa Gertrudis was our prefects in those days, and certainly heavily involved in the breed ever since. So it's nice to continue that association through the Yugobar for the past 20 odd years. So it's great to be here.
Well, thank you for joining us, Rob. I'd hand over to Prue.
Thanks very much, and thanks for having us on the couch, so to speak, here this afternoon. Beef, once again, we've been here since 1988, and I'm sure we were all very small children when we first came, Rob, weren't we? But I guess Beef Australia gave us that opportunity to showcase, firstly through showing cattle, and then I guess through having a trade site where people could kind of come and chat and interact, and we could learn a bit more about our customers as well as them learning about us. So I'm from Palgrove, which is a Charolais and Ultra Black stud based down near Warwick in Queensland, and we've got country kind of up and down New South Wales and Western and up to Western Queensland and up to Emerald. So there's a fair sort of array of rainfalls and country types and whatever. So those cattle we started off, as you said, back in the day as young kids in about '87. We bought 50 cows from my parents-in-law and a very small block of land, which we had to pay back, and we did that within 2 years, which was really exciting. Those 50 cows turned into 5,000, and I think on current count we're sort of up to that 8,000, 8,500 registered cattle all up now, which is wonderful. And the Ultra Blacks were more of a recent addition. We kind of decided we needed something else for our clients to use in their crossbreeding programs, and we helped to pioneer, I guess, that breed probably about 10 years ago now. So yeah, it's been a bit of a change over the time, 30 plus years. I wasn't born into the stud business. I married into it, which gave me the opportunity, I think, to ask some questions that I didn't quite understand, and maybe test and challenge a bit. My husband, I'm sure he'd say that. So yeah, it's been quite the journey.
And to start with that 50 head and pay that off within 2 years, what a feat. That's a great kick start. Can you give us a bit of an idea of your customers, and when you talk about getting into the Ultra Blacks, are they sort of the same customers that might be requiring those genetics and that bit of a change, or are they different customers?
Yeah, we predominantly sell into Northern Australia, into Brahman herds. That was kind of our most popular, what's it made, do you think? I guess our main core business, and our clients are particularly around sort of Cloncurry, Richmond, a little bit further north. We're sort of saying, when you get this wonderful Charbray with a Charolais over a Brahman, you get this wonderful Charbray female that we don't want to sell, we'd like to use in a program, and where do we go and what do we do? And we knew the Angus would kind of needed to be in that development somewhere. We just didn't know how much Angus we could be handled up there. So we spent a bit of time in the States, in southern Alabama and Florida and Texas and whatever, looking to see what they were doing, and we saw these Ultra Blacks over there and said, that's the answer, that's what we needed to start to work with. And so we've now really adapted those and made them fit with our clients in the north mostly. And the crazy thing is now they're sort of in New South Wales and beyond. So it's been a really good solution for our clients.
Absolutely. So they've obviously got to have that heat tolerance to them and a bit of tropics in them as well. But now seeing them further down south too, that's interesting.
And that's it. They're now going over kind of pure Angus herds. So yeah. Sorry about that, everybody. So it's kind of a full cycle, to both our main customers, both in the north and into the south, that they've found a place, which is fantastic.
Thank you. Yep, hand over to you now, Rob, too. I'd be interested to hear as well your market approach and what your strategy has been since joining Ugabar as well.
Yeah, I guess that's an interesting comment. Historically, in my family partnership and Roban League days, we probably tended to focus on predominantly chasing those broad ribbons and that Grand Champion bull and that $50,000 cow or bull was an attractive approach. But I guess when I joined Ugabar and we were looking to rebuild that brand, I took the attitude that we needed to build it from a commercial base up, build the commercial, establish a good commercial clientele, establish a good commercial base for the herd there, which, whilst it was a very old Santa Catrinas herd, it probably needed some work. And so I took the attitude that we build it commercially from the ground up, and as the quality increased and compounded, we grew the seed stock business at the same time. So today we made about just on 600 stud females, and we made about 2,300 commercial females, predominantly Santa Catrinas. We do crossbreed with some of Prue's Charolais bulls here. And we also use some Yarram Park Hereford bulls, and we use a number of Angus bulls for different applications within our commercial business. But yeah, our core business is Santa Catrinas, and we have been able to build a clientele over the last 20 years that we're passionate about. Not securing a client for one time only. We really want to see those people time and time again. And we're very particular about it. If a problem arises, that we solve it quickly. And I think it's about building those pathways and those relationships I have a saying that people do business with people, and I think the more I didn't know that or didn't learn that in the early days, I think I was more focused on whether you bred that outstanding bull or cow than actually understanding the extent of what people relationships were, and so that's probably been a paradigm shift for me over the last 30 years. But it's great to build those relationships. We like to think that we produce a good product. We align what we do largely through steer and carcass competitions. We do periodically show stock cattle. We're not doing that this year, but we do like to benchmark our breeding program with the success of our commercial cattle, and hopefully that aligns us with what the industry requires and keeps us commercially relevant.
That's very interesting. Thanks, guys. Also, anyone in the crowd, if you've got any questions, make this interactive. Sing them out, please, for Prue and Rob. Troublemakers in the front. But Rob, that was interesting to talk about people, and I guess that's sort of externally and in a marketing sense. But what about internally within the business? Who has been involved in your sort of progress for the years and what it's taken to get Yugobar to where it is today? I know in my day, sort of when I was coming through school and looking in careers, a career in ag was almost actively discouraged. There's sort of, we were told there weren't that many opportunities in ag, whereas today I think there's a total shift in that mindset now. How have you found that through the years with guys that you've worked with, particularly in Yugobar, and the guys that you employ?
Yeah, really good point. I guess when I first moved to Yugobar, my wife and I just knew how to use a computer. We probably had many late night domestics on how to work out herd master or whatever it was at the time, but the irony was we were the only people at Yugobar in a team of about 25 people that could use a computer at that point in time. Whereas today, everybody has some sort of connectivity with technology, and so I think that's been a big paradigm shift in terms of how we apply technology to the business. 20 years ago, you'd argue there was very little technology in the business, whereas today, technology, in particular, the likes of you guys, have certainly a large role to play in what we do. So it's that's been a big change in attitude. We're proud of the team of people that work at Yugobar. It's a team effort. There's certainly no I in the word team for us, and I'm proud of the team of people that live, work, and breathe for the company, and it's really nice to be part of a good family of people.
And Prue, we were chatting earlier about opportunities for young people within the industry. You've been involved quite heavily in some networking and peer leading. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yes, Munro, I'm a mentor in the Graham Acton mentoring program, which has been an absolute pleasure to be involved with. As you know, Graham Acton was a great teacher, I think, and connected young people very much so in his own organisation as well as in the greater industry, and it's a real pleasure to I guess think about what he would have been doing with young people now, and hopefully we're adding a little bit of that. The program is spans 18 months, and you have a mentor partner that you hopefully nurture and teach and pass on your experience to, and it's been just one of the best things I've ever kind of had anything to do with it, certainly in recent times, because you get to understand other sectors of the industry, understand another generation, and understand what challenges younger people have in our industry that we know so well. And so I guess we're guiding and directing where we can to enable them to be part of this wonderful industry. And so all sectors are represented, from processing to live export and tech. I think there's a couple from Auctions Plus involved. And so those kids are getting a hands-on view of the world of of the beef industry that we know, which is quite different to, you know, when you're 25 years old, how it looks. You know, it looks a little bit awesome and a bit, you know, but how do I become part of it? So those young people have now got this incredible network that they can rely on, I think, for years to come.
Definitely, it's good to hear that it's rewarding for you as well. And I've spoken to some of the guys that you are involved in, and some great feedback there. Very big fans of yours, and much appreciated, I think, the work that you're doing as well. So thank you. What about technology with Palgrove? What role has that played in your journey, and where do you see the future of technology?
Yeah, absolutely. Innovation is number one, and always has been for us. Now, how that comes to you depends on what people like yourselves are willing to develop, I suppose. We always took the position that you kind of didn't want to be the first one in, but you wanted to be very close behind those first adopters, and that enabled a few of the little, you know, the bugs and the mistakes to be made by someone else, and then you sort of came in with this nice fresh, you know, fresh view of it. The other thing, I guess, what we did enjoy as we got bigger and could be. And Rob, you've probably done the same, but could be part of trials and actually part of the R&D. There was a real sort of shift in that you could actually help guide the solutions rather than just accept that someone developed it for you. And that was very much a shift. You know, the early breed plan days in particular, having a little bit to do with being a pilot herd and you know, just actually involved in that development. Just gave you a different slant on technology, and now there's just such an array of new technology that it's actually quite, it could be quite overwhelming for people, so you've got to actually work out what you need to solve before you go out looking for a product that will help you to solve it. And I think you know, adoption of new technologies is now probably key to the beef industry moving in bigger steps over the next few years. I think a lot of the technology is there, but it's how quickly we now adopt what is there and utilise it to build efficiencies.
Rob, I'd love to hear your views on that too. What you're utilising, we spoke about individual animal management a bit earlier and what's required from a stud level. But what about too, sort of, that's a business sense, what's going to be effective for you, but at a larger industry sense, where do you think technology plays a role, and potentially even overseas markets, international markets?
Yeah, but Munro, I think one of the reasons that I've enjoyed working with AgriWebb is the preparedness to listen to what the producer's looking for, whether it be from a extensive or intensive or seed stock or commercial production. If we have something that we raise with you and you've been more than happy to explore those options, and I see as a good example of that. I remember speaking with Phil in the early days and then talking to you guys about integrating SIBO into your product and satellite imagery and measuring the dry matter, and being able to sort of bring the technologies together into one platform is something that I think is really, really beneficial. As Prue said, it's probably difficult to. There's so much technology out there, and I think agricultural sector in general has probably been a big uptake and highly enthusiastic about new technologies, but it's sorting through the chaff from the seed, I guess, and what works and what doesn't work. But as an industry, I think agriculture certainly has embraced technology over the last 4 or 5 years particularly, and I think it's entrenched here for the future. Yeah, certainly I appreciate hounding you guys about ways of improving things and your preparedness to adopt and react and adjust to what the industry requires. And I'm sure globally that will vary from country to country, environment to environment, and market systems and how things operate. But definitely we're in a new era as far as adoption of technology, and I guess COVID's probably even brought that on even faster. We've seen us all have to adopt to online marketing in a much greater sense, and I can see an online marketing platform right in front of me. Hi, Libby. It's great to, but it's great to see, you know, all these technologies moving forward, people embracing them, ways that we can, you know, make agriculture a more attractive place for young people to want to make a career. I think the career options in agriculture now are far broader than they ever were, and it's an exciting place to be. We've just got to sell our message and sell the good news stories about agriculture.
Thank you. That's great feedback to hear, so thank you. One of our core values at AgriWebb, or our first core value, is actually to live for the producer. So what you see here in our product has been built on feedback from the producers we work with. Obviously it's got to be made to be very simple first and foremost so that people will actually use it. But it has been a privilege for me as well to work with the likes of you guys in developing this product and making it better. But while we're here at this point, has anyone got any questions for these two up on stage at the moment? No? Happy? Troublemakers down the front of the ground? No.
What's it going to be like after being on the land and all that? What's the plans for the future?
Ladies first.
Question where, if anyone didn't hear, what's plans for the future, life after the land?
Yeah, Jacko, look, I'm looking in the New England area for a nice cheap block of land, and I'll come straight to you to buy that one. Yeah, and look, I think, you know, for us, yes, we've stepped down in our operational roles, but we still have our property at Delvine, and that'll continue on. I do believe breeding will be a part of our future at some point, but commercial breeding. And I think you never lose, I think it's the industry that you kind of belong to that you don't want to lose that part of your life because it's so special. And I think, you know, there's always that industry, you know, you help where you can to give some wisdom back potentially in the industry. And you know, there's a whole lot of avenues for that. I sit on a couple of boards, and that's very enjoyable to sort of, you know, challenge the thinking. And I can't see us, you know, sitting on a beach anywhere anytime soon, and you know, reading a book. So there's plenty to come. It's just in a different package.
I'd like to ask one question there, sorry, Prue, before we hand over. Stepping into that less operational role, what's the journey been like for that, to find the right people to sort of be able to hand on to?
Yeah, I mean, that's challenging. We had to find someone who wanted to do things at the pace that needs to be done to, and look after the environment, look after our people, look after the cattle in such a way that we did, and that was the challenge. You know, private equity is a different beast to long-term sort of capital funding. So I guess private equity, as much as that looked potentially our business looked attractive because, you know, you could sort of ramp it up and whatever, it wasn't a long-term answer for us. So we partnered up with a superannuation fund that actually has a lifetime to do, you know, that next stage, which is wonderful. And that's what breeding's all about. It's you know, those relationships and making sure that clients are first and foremost in your mind, and that's actually a bit of, you know, backward thinking to most, you know, most sort of fast, quick buck sort of thinking businesses. So yeah, that was the plan when we looked for our succession, and that's kind of what we found. Yeah.
And Rob? I
don't know how you beat Prue's answers. Life after Yugobar, look, it's been a good journey for myself the past 20 odd years. Hopefully it's not completely over yet. But I enjoy seed stock production. I absolutely love focusing on the end point, and I guess in recent years I had the opportunity to step on to the board of the Casino Feed Co-op, Northern Cooperative Feed Meat Company at Casino, and that's Australia's largest cooperatively owned meatworks. And so I was keen to understand more about the end point of the business, Naively, I thought the beef industry was and the meat industry were the same. I certainly have learnt, if I've learnt nothing else in the last 6 years on the board, is that they're not the same. But it's been a great journey for me to have the opportunity to be exposed to the processing sector. I've enjoyed the opportunity to sit on a board, a board or two now, and I think certainly interested in sitting on more agriculturally based, or not only agriculturally based boards, but certainly boards of interest in the future. So Lorraine and I have also continuing our seed stock interests that go back to my own personal stud that I registered back in 1977. My son Andrew, he kept that going for a number of years when I first went to Yugobar, and we've expanded that with some country at Kyoga now. So they're little, I guess that's a guarantee of ensuring that we're involved in the seed stock industry for a generation or two to come. So that's exciting for us. I don't like the word retirement. I'm probably going to avoid that as long as possible. And but just really enjoy and love the industry we're involved in, and I like Prue, I enjoy sharing experiences that we have, and if we can help young people in the industry and people along on their journey, that's a great result.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I think everyone that you can be involved in is going to appreciate that. Those boards that you've been involved in and young people helping along the way are obviously going to benefit from your experience of having such success along the way as well. I guess if no one's got any other questions, I might now start to think about final thoughts and what the vision is to continue building that brand for each of you, for Yugobar and Munro. Well, you'd like to have a crack? What's the vision for Yugobar moving forward?
Now you're putting me on the spot, but look, the passion is to continue to breed cattle that are commercially focused and industry relevant, to continue to grow our client base and to be that first choice when it comes to replacement of seed stock. I want to continue to focus on that, on developing that. I'd like to grow the business as much as Yugobar Pastoral Company and their board of directors are prepared to go, and certainly I'd like to continue to grow my own interests as much as I can. So far from done yet. I think the journey's only just begun, and excited to continue.
I guess for us, it's in assuring that there's a smooth transition to a new ownership, I suppose, and keeping the brand clearly representing what it has for 35 years or so, and I think that comes with good systems, good processes and good people, and I think we've got most of that. I think we've got all of it, and so that'll be really interesting to sit on the sidelines and watch where a new generation takes our brand, and with their thoughts and their opinions, and hopefully keeps it afloat. I'm sure it will. Definitely keeps it afloat.
Thank you. Well, I guess that's going to wrap things up for us, but thank you both very much for joining us here today, for speaking everyone. And congratulations on success so far, and we're all looking forward to seeing the future, what it holds for you guys. And after Beef Week, continue on for that. So thank you again.
Cheers, thank you.